Hey, what's up people? Piz out here, and today I want to talk to you guys about the Scream Factory Collector's Edition Blu-ray release of Tobe Hooper's Lifeforce. And Lifeforce is this bizarre fusion of science fiction, fantasy, and horror that finds this group of astronauts, both American and British astronauts, who are investigating Halley's Comet. They discover an alien spacecraft in the coma of Halley's Comet, basically Halley's Comet's wake, and upon investigating that alien spacecraft, they discover space vampires. That's right, vampires from space. I've always enjoyed Lifeforce. It's not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I've always just really got a kick out of it. Whenever you mention the film Lifeforce, one thing, and seemingly one thing only, leaps to most people's minds, and that is the performance of Matilda May, who spends the vast majority of the film stark naked. But watching the film again for the first time in its entirety in many, many years, I was taken by several aspects of the film. Number one is just the broad, sort of epic scope of the film. There's a lot going on in this movie, The special effects in the movie, although the film was shot in, it was released in '85, the special effects still look really good. The mechanical special effects, the practical special effects, the puppet special effects in the film are all done really, really well. The space vampires, they don't suck your blood. They suck your life force, your life's energy out of you, leaving you a desiccated, shriveled corpse, a husk of a person. And after a little while, that husk comes back to life as a life force sucking vampire itself, bent on sucking people's life force in order to replenish themselves, but they have to do this every couple of hours or they return to the shriveled husk state. But the puppet effects of the shriveled husk people look really, really good. I mean, I was taken aback by just how well those effects looked. And today, if they did that in a film today, it would be entirely CGI and it would look awful. The puppet effects, the practical effects in this movie look really good. They do a lot of really interesting things with the puppets in this film, as far as, you know, they explode, they turn to dust. There's an awesome sequence where one runs toward he's in like this prison cell, and he runs toward the bars to try and get these people to suck their life force, and he hits the bars and just explodes into dust, and dust rains everywhere. That's a really awesome sequence. Toward the end of the film, all the people who've been infected with this life force sucking vampire virus are just attacking the streets of London. I couldn't help but think of that Morrissey song, or was it a Smith song? I don't remember. Panic in the Streets of London. I kept singing that in my head over and over again watching these sequences. But, you know, just really cool stuff going on there. You know, the walking shriveled is what they lovingly dubbed them in the film. You know, chasing after people. You've got fire everywhere, explosions everywhere. You've got a vampiric bolt, you know, flying through the streets of London, you know, sucking up people's life force. A lot of great action sequences there, done really well. You know, really enjoyed those sequences. Really like Steve Railsback's performance in this film. He is just endearingly over the top in a lot of it. But a lot of really great, you know, great cast in this film, including like Patrick Stewart, Peter Firth, Frank Finlay. A lot of great actors in this film. And just in overall, just fun, just wacky, out there kind of movie. I really enjoy it. Sort of a different take on the whole vampire mythology, although it's kind of cool that they, you know, they incorporated some more of the gothic elements of, you know, the classic vampire story into this, like the space vampires. Their form is like a big bat. Their spacecraft looks really cool. It looks like, you know, imagine Dracula's castle as a spaceship. It kind of looks like that. It was really kind of interesting. It was almost Giegerish, but not quite. So I appreciated that as well. But yeah, just an overall, I really enjoyed the movie. Like I said, not a great film, but definitely an interesting one. Just out there, a lot of fun. Really enjoy the movie. But what are the special features? Is it worth being called a collector's edition? The answer is yes. Picture, sound quality, both great. A little grainy moments here and there in the picture quality, but overall, excellent picture quality, excellent sound quality. As far as special features, we get an audio commentary with director Tobe Hooper and Tim Sullivan. I watched about half the movie with the audio commentary. Tobe Hooper's just an interesting guy to talk to. He's entertaining, and he was talking about the making of the film and how he got involved in the film. Fun stuff there. We have all new retrospectives, interviews with Tobe Hooper, Steve Railsback, and more. The interview with Tobe Hooper was really cool. He talks about how he left directing Return of the Living Dead to direct Lifeforce, and got Dan O'Bannon that job to direct Return of the Living Dead. So sort of as a to pay Tobe back for that, he wrote the screenplay for Lifeforce. Of course, the late Dan O'Bannon, who also wrote Dead and Buried, the original Alien, much more. Really interesting interview with Tobe Hooper. I just find him a really interesting character. He's got a lot of funny stories. One funny story was trying to find actresses who were okay with the amount of nudity that was required in the film. And at one point they chartered a plane to bring over German models or actresses, I don't remember, but brought over a bunch of German women. But on the plane over, one of the actresses decided to unionize these group of women, and they all went in and they refused to do the nudity, except for the one woman who organized the union. So she was the only one of the entire plane who would actually do nudity. They did not cast her. Tobe Hooper did not cast her. But yeah, just a lot of interesting stories. It's about a 15-minute interview with him. He talks about the Golden Globus guys, the Cannon guys, the making of the film. A lot of interesting stuff there. Very cool interview with him. We get an interview with Steve Railsback where he recalls making the film, and that was sort of he had you could tell that this was a big part for him. It was his first sort of, not necessarily his first starring role. He had starred as Charles Manson, I think, in either a TV movie, or I don't remember if it was a TV movie or not, but he said, after that, all he got, the only roles that he got put up for were, of course, the villain, so this was his opportunity to step outside of that. But yeah, a lot of interesting stuff there with his interview, talking about working with Matilda May, who didn't really speak English in the film, but really looked out for her and kind of made sure that people were respectful of her, even though she was walking around entirely naked for most of the film. We also have an interview with Matilda May, which is really a lot of fun to listen to. Talking about how she started out as a dancer, as a ballerina. She got an agent and they put her up for this part, and at first she wasn't quite okay with the nudity, but then she warmed up to it. She met Tobe, and Tobe was a really nice guy, and he was very respectful, and everybody on the set was just really nice and respectful. The only bad thing was it was like the winter when they shot the film, and of course she's walking around completely naked, and wasn't that comfortable as far as the climate was concerned. But that was cool. And we also get a vintage making of Lifeforce featurette with interviews from the set while making the film with Tobe Hooper, the special effects people. A lot of behind the scenes footage. Very cool stuff there. Very cool stuff there. We also get, of course, theatrical trailers, TV spots, stuff like that. And this is actually, I should say, the European version of Lifeforce. It's a little bit longer than the American version. But yeah, overall, really pleased with this release. I'd been down on the last couple of Scream Factory releases because of them carrying over old special features from previous versions of the film and putting them on these new releases and calling them collector's editions. I was having a problem with that, but they've redeemed themselves with Lifeforce. All new special features, really nice special features, worth your money. The picture and sound quality, of course, top notch. We get the great cover art here. Just look how awesome that is. Of course, the inside, you can flip around to the classic old school poster art, which is always nice with these releases. But yeah, overall, definitely, if you're a fan of Lifeforce, I highly recommend you guys running out and purchase this. If you haven't seen the film Lifeforce, but are curious about it, and who isn't, I would definitely recommend picking up this version of the film. Like I said, great stuff on here, and just one of those movies that, like I said, not a great film by any stretch of the imagination, but just really fun, really interesting, really bizarre, just a lot of stuff going on in this movie. I really find it very entertaining. So yeah, anyway, until next time, you guys take it easy.